Donald Trump and his team is seeing exactly what merit means and realizes that, yeah, we're not going back to the field. Now he's trying to butter up the immigrants with all this, oh, they're valuable people. They cannot be easily replaced. You damn right they can't. And for surely they cannot be replaced with some of the most educated group of people in the world. I don't know too many black people, honestly, that don't have a degree. And you thought we was going back to the field? I've been making six figures working remote for so long, I'll be fucking damned to ever go back to a field job. You think I'm about to go pick onions? Oh, you learning now? That's why I wasn't even bothered when they was doing all them campaigns talking about, you taking black jobs. You taking black jobs. Black jobs ain't never been took. We always had a job. We didn't always had a job. Who you know black and don't work? We always got a job.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Trending Pulse Worldwide. I'm Amy and today we are diving into a conversation that's blowing up online. And trust me, it's a wild one. So, a lot of people are saying Donald Trump's mass deportation policies weren't just about immigration. And according to some reactions, he thought by removing immigrant farm workers, maybe, just maybe, Black Americans, especially those living in cities, would somehow return to working in the fields. And now, with farm strugglings, they say he's regretting that decision and even thinking about bringing back immigrant labor. So here's what we are going to do. First, we are going to hear more of these reactions. Then I've got an alleged voice note of Trump himself talking about how these workers are special people and how hard they are to replace. And after that, we'll check out more of the responses and then I'll come back so we can really break this down and have a conversation about it. So let's take a look.
Country with a pass back in legally, and we're doing things that are very difficult to do and very complex, but it works really well. We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
I know goddamn well Trump didn't think that we finna get back in the motherfucking fields. So Trump gonna get his goddamn TV talking about he prematurely deported the illegals that was working in the farms, thinking that us, niggas, was gonna get back out there. We already did that, and you see where it got us, huh? We the freshest motherfucking goddamn race walking. You think we finna fuck new Louis Vuittons that we goddamn skipped out on our light bill for? No. Get somebody else to do it.
So Donald Trump, not in these exact words, but basically admitted this week that a lot of the things that he's been doing, a lot of the policies, a lot of the executive orders that he's been signing off on was all made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. It was made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. All right, so on Tuesday, Donald Trump made an appearance, right, on CNBC's Squawk Box. And on that platform, he actually made a lot of commentary in regards to the situation with the deportations, migrant workers, the state of America's agriculture, and he made comments on inner city people not doing farm work. I want you to always remember that when they mention inner city, that means black. In Donald Trump's exact words, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They've tried. We've tried. Everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. They don't get a bad back because if they get a bad back, they die. He also went on to say that they are very, very, very special people and they cannot be easily replaced. Remember what I said, anytime that they mention the words inner city people, inner city communities, inner city neighborhoods, that's black. That's code for black. Black, blackity black, okay? Black people. And it is because of that exact commentary that it reconfirms for me, okay? Not confirms, but reconfirms, meaning that I already knew. But it reconfirms that the plan from the very beginning with these executive orders, right, was to further destabilize Black communities, further destabilize poor communities, but Black mainly, so that you could put pressure on these communities so that you could get them to go back into the field, right? And then once you get them back in the field, bingo, you've made America great again. Modernize slavery. But Black people said, F you and this little game that you want to play. Since we are the most valuable player on the scoreboard, we will remove ourselves and let's see if this game is still going to continue. And that's in fact what we're seeing right now. Donald Trump thought that by forcing all of these other people out, taking away our Medicaid, doing all of these things to further destabilize our community, that we would conform, that we would just do what he wants us to do, what the whites of this world, what white supremacy wants us to do. But Black people decided to pull a Uno reverse and they did nothing, which is something that they're not used to Black people doing. They're used to Black people having this spirit of rebellion, having this spirit of revolution. But instead, Black people decided that, you know what, I'm going to preserve my energy for me and my people, but I'm also going to remove myself from this game entirely. And now everything is starting to crumble. The way that the America agriculture is taking a huge hit right now because of Donald Trump and his deportations. Like, I don't think that you understand how much America survives off of the labor of undocumented workers.
I know MAGA mad. I know for a fact MAGA is mad. Trump regrets deporting the Hispanics. Granted, we did tell our government they have done a lot for us in this country. They've done a lot for us. But we told y'all don't want to do this. Y'all don't know what y'all asking for. Now they regretting it. And I done heard in the streets, they done already let a few people back. They done already let a couple groups back because they realized, yeah, they don't even know how to do their own business without them. But next time, Hispanics, to the Hispanics that voted for that man, maybe next time y'all actually listen to Black Americans when we trying to warn y'all about shit. Just saying, but welcome back.
So Trump is now, from the way people are talking online, really starting to consider bringing back immigrant labor. And honestly, it's kind of ironic because he's the one who brought in all these policies in the first place. And he's the one who pushed for the mass deportations, the raids, the crackdowns. And now here we are because farms across America are struggling because there's no one to work on them. And you've got farmers literally shutting down operations, cutting their crop sizes, or just walking away because they can't find enough workers to harvest. And that's not just a bad season problem. That's a full-on labor shortage. And it's the direct result of not having the immigrant labor force that's been holding up the agricultural industry for decades. Now, what got people really talking is that voice note, because if you take it at face value, it sounds like he's acknowledging that these workers, the ones he deported, are special people that you just can't replace. And that line about if they have a bad back, they'll die, people are connecting that to the grueling work of farming, the back-breaking labor, and they're saying, see, he knows exactly who he was talking about. And that's where this whole conversation about Black Americans come in. A lot of folks online are convinced that when he put those deportation policies in place, he thought Black people, especially those living in cities, would somehow step into those farming jobs, like he was gonna empty the fields of immigrant labor, and then somehow Black people were just gonna be like, oh, okay, guess we are picking crops now. Crazy. But the reality is that's not happening because it's not the 1940s. People's lives are in other industries. They live in different places. They have different skills. And you can't just uproot millions of people from the realities and drop them into farm labor. Especially when farming today is highly specialized, it's seasonal and physically demanding in ways most people aren't trained for. And again, this idea that you can socially engineer people into jobs they haven't done for generations, it's not just unrealistic, it's insulting to think it would work like that. So now, here we are, Farmers are hurting, crops are rotting, and the only real solution on the table is to bring immigrant workers back, which, if you think about it, means undergoing the very policies that caused this problem in the first place. And that's why people are calling it ironic. You build your whole platform on removing them, and now you're realizing the system doesn't run without them. And again, this isn't about farming. For a lot of Black Americans talking about this, it's also about history, the history of being forced into agricultural labor during slavery, during sharecropping, during the era of exploitative farm work. So when they hear this theory that the deportations were set up to get them back in the fields, it hits a nerve. Even if they are not farmers, the symbolism of it is deep. Now, whether you believe that was actually the plan or not, you can't deny that the optics here are wild. You deport the people who've been doing this job for decades, you end up with a massive shortage, you watch farms start to fail, and then suddenly you're like, you know what, maybe we should bring them back. And it's like, this is what happens when you mess with the foundation of an industry without a backup plan. And in this case, the foundation was immigrant labor. So guys, what do you think about all this? Is this really Trump backtracking because the farming industry is collapsing without immigrant workers? Or is this just people connecting the dots in a way that makes sense to them? Because I'm telling you, the way these conversations are happening online, people are not holding back. They are breaking it down. They are bringing up history, and they are calling out the hypocrisy loud and clear. So guys, let's have a conversation in the comments. Drop your thoughts. I want to hear from you. And before you go, kindly don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more trending stories just like this one. Thank you so much for sticking around. My name is Amy, and this is Trending Pulse Worldwide. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed.